Hi, I'm Dr. Paolo Stracchi, lecturer at the School of Architecture, Design and Planning and Program Director of the Master of Architecture. On behalf of our team, I would like to welcome you to the University of Sydney's Master of Architecture. We are excited to have you here and are delighted to welcome you into our program. The Master of Architecture at the University of Sydney is all about fostering your imagination and creativity on the built and unbuilt environment, exploring its meaning, purpose and impact, and adding value not only to the discipline of architecture itself, but to the society that we want to live in. History, theory, sustainability, design, media and communication of architecture is not only what we teach and explore at the Sydney University, it is also what we love and what we share with people around us through exhibition, open lectures and weekly public events. Being the first school of architecture in Australia gives us an extraordinary privilege and a huge responsibility towards our communities and people. A privilege and a responsibility that concern local and global challenges such as human rights, climate change, and green and circular economy. If designing buildings is our aim, a better, greener, more equitable and fairer society is our aspiration. Experimental, critical and engaging are the words that underpin our master program, at the center of which there is your design and creativity, your own narrative and story and opinion. In the evolving and magmatic context of architecture, our master degree plays a significant role by giving you the opportunity to become a registered architect in Australia and to take the first step toward your professional growth. Understanding buildings, designing them, analyzing the process behind their construction, exploring new technologies will be a fantastic journey during which you'll be guided by our international academic staff that will share with you their passion for architecture, research interests and findings. We also have a fantastic body of professional staff which will give you access to the DMAF lab and the opportunity to challenge your will of innovation by exploring and mixing traditional craft with ceramic, robotic fabrication and virtual reality. And finally, you will have the opportunity to celebrate your achievements and promote your work at our legendary final year exhibition and party, visited by over 5,000 guests, of whom include prospective employers, your peers, our industry partners, schools, friends, and general public. This is the moment when we are all proud of our graduates and their work. Australia, Sydney, and our university welcome you and your passion for architecture. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Hi, my name is Nick Woolley. I'm studying a Masters of Architecture and I previously finished a Bachelor of Design in Architecture here at the University of Sydney.
Hello, I'm Katie Hubbard. I am recently finished a Master of Architecture at the University of Sydney, having previously studied the undergraduate degree of a Bachelor of Design and Architecture, and I currently work in Architecture and Urban Design at Hassel Studio full-time.
Without a doubt, I think it's been the really strong sense of community within this faculty, especially in the undergraduate and the master's degrees, that's continuous. This really strong sense, particularly because of our home-based spaces, the fact that there's always someone around to talk about design, there's always someone to talk to about your issues that you're having, or if you want to get a second opinion on anything in particular. But this strong sense that you are always in this community together and it will always be around. And branching out from that, there have been the opportunities to take up particular studios, in particular travelling studios. I went to Paris for a 2-week intensive studio last year during the winter break, in which we studied institutional modernism and then came back and did further research. And it was a great opportunity to kind of sharpen our discipline, reflect on ideas that we've learnt in faculty and then expand them and kind of consider them in relation to our own practice.
I think the opportunities that are available to students within both the undergrad and master degree that offer such incredible value are when you're able to travel to other countries or to other communities and engage on a real project. I've had the wonderful opportunities to travel to Vanuatu to engage on a community build project, to Italy to engage on topics of disaster relief and migration, and to Germany to study through an exchange program. My exchange was at the Technical University of Berlin, and that was for a 6-month exchange period.
Without a doubt, if you haven't started to consider it already, or if you haven't started to consider it through an undergraduate design degree, start to get on top of your time management now and start to plan your degree, how you start to lay out your units, how you break down the amount of work you do each week and each day. Try and do a little bit each day, and it'll make it a lot easier in the long run. And especially if you're doing work professionally as well. I'm doing a combination of full-time during the breaks and part-time during semester. So it's really important for me to actually plot out my weeks well in advance, figure out when the busy times are going to be and work towards them gradually rather than having it all pile up towards the end.
I think when people think of an architecture degree, it's understood as to be quite an intense degree, and it is. However, that's okay. The more you put into this degree, ultimately the more you're going to get out of it. Tertiary education is a great privilege, and I think everyone should be aware of that and take that on board when they're taking their studies seriously. However, it's also as important to take your studies seriously as it is to give yourself a break. This degree doesn't need to get on top of you, and you have an incredible community of friends and tutors and academics that will support you. So give yourself a break, structure in your breaks, and enjoy it.
So if you're new to Sydney, or if you haven't been to Sydney, or you're not familiar with Sydney generally, I'd absolutely recommend that you just have an awareness of what's going on inside the faculty, whether that's talks or workshops, or generally what's going on with the tuition. Being aware of what your peers are doing, being aware of what the tutors are doing, but also more broadly in terms of talks within the Sydney cultural and design scene, whether that be at the other unis or whether that be at art galleries or other related design institutions. Just being aware of the design discourse that is taking place in Sydney at any given time is really, really important. But also in terms of your immediate studies, just be aware that there's always someone to talk to if you're having a tough time or if you're not familiar with anything. Our psychological services or counselling services within the uni more broadly, but also just go up to someone in Homebase if you're having a tough time, and there'll always be someone to talk to.
Yeah, I think when I think of the University of Sydney, I think of its facilities and its amenity. Whatever degree you're in and whatever faculty that your degree is supported by, this institution has an immense amount of indoor and outdoor facility and amenity that can only benefit your study, so take advantage of it. You have workshops, you have exhibitions, you have outdoor recreation areas, and you have all the other cafe, study space that isn't specifically a library, that'll allow you to more passively integrate and interact with people at the university, and ultimately just better your experience of your degree. I find peace and quiet on Victoria Park. It's possibly my favourite part of the location of the Wilkinson building, is to be able to cross the road and be in one of the best parks in Sydney.